Hello. Uh, 1 second. I have to pop out the chat. Pop out chat. What's the plan for today? Yeah, we'll look at that in a second. Once I have everything set up. Okay. I guess we can start. Okay. So, hello everyone and welcome back to this live stream where over the past few streams we took a look at Odin and built an example project to get a feel for the language. Actually, yesterday I wasn't live, but the day before we looked at serving static files. And right now I'm not quite sure what we should do for today because I don't have that much time. Maybe let's make a quick recap. Okay, so switch the scene. On Thursday, wait a second. So on Thursday we looked at assets, and what we basically did is define an asset folder, which is loaded in at startup, which loads in all of the files in there, which for now is an index.html and an about.html. We load them into RAM, and we store them in an asset store. So we have this concept of an asset store, which at the moment is a linked list of entries. So we have some asset, and that asset has a name and content. And whenever someone makes a GET request with a URI that matches the asset, we return the content inside the body. We can take a look at that. So when I have this asset folder, and we have two files in there, about and index.html, about pretty basic HTML files. And when we serve this and connect to our server, we get the file with its content. We also have an about. Yeah, and that's basically it. That's what we've been building on Thursday. After the stream, I fixed a bug where the closing of the connection was somehow broken. So in http.odin, we had not handle request, it's handle connection. Whenever we got a complete message, and the message length is equal to the offset in the parser, I forgot to reset the connection. So Safari turns out not to close connections in between requests. And we didn't reset it, so the overall state of the connection was obviously broken. So I want to, let's put it to do in here. I want to improve detection of complete messages. This depends on the connection header. I don't know what you mean. What depends on the message header? So yeah, the message length depends on the message header. That's true. We have a connection close header. Oh yeah, okay. If you have a connection close header or request was HTTP 1.0 or earlier, the connection is closed after each request. Yeah, but I mean we implemented a, yeah, it's not full spec what we have here. We just, yeah, whatever. Otherwise, if you have a connection keep alive or running, yeah, I'm running HTTP 1.1. Yeah, that's, yeah, this whole a connection management is also something we have to look at, because probably it's not very correct so far. What we also did last time, I don't know if it was last time, but we implemented, we introduced KQ, the BSD equivalent of EPOL, to be able to serve multiple connections on a single thread. And we basically, yeah, registered events and also did the cleanup here. So if we receive an end of file in our K event, then we close the connection, and also we implemented a connection pool that is capable of acquiring connections and releasing them. And yeah, I think that's what we have to this point. What I want to look at probably today is that handle request, because yeah, this is a little bit broken. Like we just check whether we have something in the asset store that's the URI, and if it's not found, yeah. So this whole status code thing is something we could look at. We could look at error handling. I'm not sure. Also, I want to refactor this here. Refactor this into a connection reset with offset. Yeah. So maybe let's look at the error handling. I'm not sure what the spec says about this at the moment. If we have a parser state If the parser state is error, so if we can't parse the message, what do? We just close the connection. And I don't know if we should do this in here or if we should do this somewhere else, but at the moment it's in the HTTP. Which is probably not the best decision, because maybe we want cleanup, especially for SSL. I don't know. And also something else is broken in the parsing, because I introduced the previous offset. Let's just close the socket. Yeah, okay, but yeah, so when I thought about this, I wanted to separate the platform specific from the platform closest platform non-specific, right? But I don't really like that we have this in here, but whatever. As long as you send the correct HTTP error code through, it doesn't really matter, I think. Yeah, we don't send anything. If we have ban another guy. Good. Okay. At the moment, we don't send anything if we cannot parse. If we cannot parse the thing, and this is probably not correct. I would have to look at the spec. I'm not sure. I just close the connection. Yeah, do I have to send it if the, okay. So if the question is what was the error code? So let's look at the HTTP RFC. Let's do it with Google. So to actually give the client a reason for the closure. Yeah. Status code definition. Yeah, this is also something where we have to think about how we do this. Otherwise, it would assume a network error, yeah. And browser will just say something went wrong. Okay. I mean, a browser should never send a broken HTTP message. But yeah, at the moment it's also broken if it doesn't have a content length, which is not required by the spec. But we have all of these error codes. And this is maybe something we can look into. Status code definition. And I mean, we implemented basically nothing of this except the 200, and no, it's not your error state for all possible HTTP. But is that not your error state for all possible HTTP errors? Yeah. I don't know which errors exist even. We would have to. I should probably read the spec from start to finish at some point, but not on stream. To get it I mean, we probably will never get it completely right, and I don't really care about getting it completely right, but yeah. So at the moment, we just send every time we get a GET request. Oh, wrong window. Every time we get a GET request, we set this status code in the response to 0. And when we write a response, in write response, we look up in the status codes. We make a lookup in status codes, which is an array, and write it out to the buffer. And you should return errors if your requests overflow the... Oh, wait a second. So most of them come around file access and permissions. Yes. But you should return errors if your requests overflow the header buffer, the arena, but it really depends on your implementation. Yes. So yeah, this is also something we don't have at the moment. I just read. So our error handling is so bad at the moment. Where's the read? Here. So at some points we probably don't even look at the errors, but here if we read and get an error on the read, we just close the connection, which is, yeah, I don't know. And probably at other states we also forgot to check the errors. I mean, we have plenty of certs, but even parse header. So parse header is that, yeah. I mean, we cannot overflow the buffer. I guess we could if it, but at the moment we just read 0 bytes probably into this. So yeah, we'd have to look at this as well. So many things that are broken, but I guess we look at the status codes. Okay, so at the moment I have this status codes array here, which this should probably not, so the name is probably not very good. Oh, faster HTML. Git link, okay. Yeah, that's your server, right? If you take a glance at the http-serve.c, the connection methods. Yeah, we can do that. So I will open this on my machine. I don't have the chat open here, so Twitch. Let's open the chat. Does that look? Yeah, okay. Let's open the chat. Now we have ourselves twice. So connection. It's actually nice. Do you serve your own Git server? That's cool. Okay, the connection underscore methods. Connection init. If you take a glance at, okay, you could see some of the errors I emit. Granted, it's not particularly spec compliant at the moment, but it works on most browsers and is reasonably resistant to basic errors around missing files and malformed headers. Okay, so connection pool init is probably not what we're looking for. Connection pool alloc. Connection unsend read. Connection start receive. Connection on receive chunk. On received chunk. Yeah, you set the error code. HP status 400. And then you have a go to prepare error, start send chunk. Let's look at prepare error. Oh. Prepare. It's probably in there a lot of times. Maybe void. Prepare error. No, probably not even in this file. Yeah. Did it change the file? No. Where is it? Prepare error. Okay, here. So where do you get the error codes from? http://serve.h. Prepare error. Okay, I see. Reset, connection buff. Okay. And the error is content length. Okay, the status code is enum. Okay. Array length. Response begin. Yeah, okay, so what I do is I set, when I encounter an error, so I don't do it at the moment, I just set this, I want to set the status code and then look at the status code here and write it out. And we look up the status code in the status codes array, which is in literals. And I planned on just filling all of these codes in here with the reason and the code. And maybe we can start with that. So, but the problem is I don't know how dense these things are. So it might not make sense to do this because, I mean, you probably don't have, I mean, you have 200 to 1 to, yeah, I don't know if this makes sense, to be honest. It probably doesn't make a lot of sense because you only have 100, 101, then you have 99 with nothing, then come the 200 codes, then 94 with nothing, the 300 codes and the 400 codes. So yeah, I would use a lot of bytes. That's true. So another one would be to just have an array for 100, for 200, and for we could do this here. We would, yeah, that's cheap, that's true. We could also do this. Then we would need 2 lookups. For KBs, not a lot of disk space. Yeah. I mean, in the end, we would have to measure it if it's that bad. But these things, if these things go across page boundaries, and we access them a lot, that would be bad. So I guess I don't know how you declare 2-dimensional arrays, or if that is even possible in Odin. Let's see. Odin build. With compound literals. Or if you, I don't know if you do that. You could always declare a map instead of an array. Yeah, we could also do that. I believe they are contiguous in their space, you know. So all the errors, they are contiguous. So there's 400, 401, 402, 403, and so on. And in 200, there's also 200, 201. There's not 200 and then 231 or something. So I mean, we can do this here. If you're pretty, yeah. But I don't know how you do two-dimensional arrays in Odin. Is that even possible? Where's this overview page here? So you do something like question mark this, but this is one-dimensional, right? Two-dimensional. I don't know how you do that. Is it like this? Can't assign value. Okay, that's kind of weird. What if we do this? So can we do this? Okay, that builds. Can we do this? It can only be used in conjunction with compound literals. Yep. I agree with you. I wonder, so that works. And can you define, that also works. So if I do OK, 200 OK, that works. Okay, so we basically have to copy paste them in now. This is kind of shitty. Let's make okay. That's, can we record a macro for this? Ask ChatGPT. Is it good at this? Chat.openai.com. I don't want to leak anything. Like, let's see. Or I think you should just chuck it in one array. Codes used most often. I want to explore this. This is the wrong thing. So let's just try this. So this is continue and switching protocols. Maybe we can just copy this here. No, this is not. So 100 continue. Does it need? I think we also included this here. Switching. One switching protocols. Then we have OK created. Probably will never use those. The errors outside the range should not happening in practice. Yeah, I've written a very shitty version. I'm always open to new suggestions. Created. I would not consider myself very skilled in building HTTP servers or any networked application at all. Non-authoritative information. Yeah, I think whatever. Just get a few in there. Multiple choices. Move permanently. Found. Whatever. Okay. So how do we do this efficiently? Dap. I wonder if we can record a macro. I can do this automatically, but I don't think we can. We could probably ask a chatbot. This would be perfectly valid reason to use a chatbot. Could do it pretty easily. I'm convinced. So this was found, right? I already deleted that. So then we have the 300s, which are not complete, obviously. But this is nothing we should probably do on the stream. It's pretty boring. Error code complete. The error codes. Let's call it status codes. And then we introduce a function, I'll look up status code. This returns, this is a proc, this gets a status code, which is a U32, and returns, is it like this? Yeah. The result, which is a string. Okay. So what we do is we get the first index, which is equal to status code divided by 100. should we do this like so? Okay, and the second index, let's call it IDX, is the status code minus the first IDX, and then we just say result is equal to status codes first IDX second IDX and return. So, okay, I messed that up. It's like this. $400. Let's include some 400 as well. Just a few. What the heck? Man. Okay, where is it? This is bad. Very error prone how I do this. Delete it. Should probably record a macro, but I'm not sure how I would do that because it's not very well formatted. Okay, and some 500s, which you said should never happen, but whatever. I don't care. Let's just include some of them as well. Carriage return line feed. So delete this. Go to the beginning. Delete this. Oh shit, too much. Carriage return line feed. Yeah, okay. Not implemented. This sounds like me. This could happen in my server. Yeah, just throw in a not implemented, don't care. Reminds to happen, for example, you don't support a particular method, yes. Yeah. Yeah. At the moment, I only support get. Which is great, right? So we have that. So let's go into, where was it, HTTP? And where did we look at? So look up status code. This is not only the status code, but also the reason. Get and head. What is head? Is head a method? Get and post probably. Is head a thing? Head is get without, oh, okay. For real, is that a method? HTTP method. Yeah, it is. fetches. For an integral to get accepted, the server must not return a message body in the response. Oh. I didn't know that this even existed. Great. Okay, nice. So fetches all, yeah. That's great. I didn't even know that this existed. So we look up the response dot status code. And this is this status code. Then we transmute the status code. Do we have a not found? Do we already have the not found in here? No, we don't. So where were the error codes? And not found. 404. Yeah, obviously we stopped at the one that we actually needed. So when we go into our http.odin and in handle request, here we set this. So if the asset is not found, the status code is 404. Should we have we should probably have an enum for that. So I wonder if we already introduce an enum. We could just, yeah. So if we already, we can only map this enum to one value. Okay, so how many are there? I don't like that we divide by 100 here. So what I was thinking about HTTP, this should probably go into HTTP, right? And also the literals, I don't like that we have that in the file. So let's say HTTP status code, enum. And then just copy all of those. Shit. Go here. Literals. HTTP status codes. What? States code? Status code. Oh. Paste them in here, delete those. And now let's do a macro. Can we do it? Or just this? So capture group dot star space dot star character return line feed. Oh no. No space. Can't we do this? How do we do character return line feed here? Backslash backslash r backslash backslash n and this. And we replace it with HTTP 1. That didn't work. I think it should be repeated digits, but how do you do digits again? Yeah. But it HTTP. No. So now what is it? S. We want this. We want this. So capture group, digit, repeat it. Now we want everything until the carriage return line feed. And starting with this here. And then we want to replace it. I mean, this would be so much faster if we just did it manually, but it's also not a lot of fun. And then we replace it with HTTP underscore 1, or maybe not HTTP, so just 1. So this that was stupid. So replace a space. No, we can't replace a space. Replace the space with an underscore. Oh no. Yeah. Ooh, shit. This consumes way too much time. Payment required is also something that exists. Are you real? Payment required? That's ridiculous. We could have done this better. Also, commas are missing. Oh my goodness, what did I do? Okay, and then we can assign this to 100. Yeah, this is stupid. So record a macro, yank to underscore, find the comma, insert an equal, paste. Go down, go to the beginning, end. That's cool. Okay, we don't have a comma here, so that won't work. 503. Oh, we can also do something else. So we could make this a bit field. I don't know if you can do that in Odin. So there was something like a bit field. Obviously we're getting sidetracked here, but I want to know if we can do that. So bit fields. And then, so we could say this is a status code is a bit field. And the backing type is a U16. Okay. And now we can say the first index is a U8 with 8 bytes and with 8 bits, and the second index is a U8 with 8 bits. And then we make this, I think you can get a backing type with enums. So enum U8. Oh, there was something where you can, how did you do that? I wonder if that is possible. I feel like it should be. Backing type enum Odin. Enums have a backing type. Yeah, where is it? Backing type. Oh, you can do that. You can do it like that. So can I do this status code? The question now becomes, how do I set the backing type? That doesn't look like it. Got identifier. So U16. Do I have to do that? Oh, you can't have numbers? Oh my goodness. This is bad. I mean, do we need the numbers? We don't need them, right? Let's just delete the numbers, it's easier. So that worked, right? Status code. And line 30. No, that's another in literals, line 30. Expected a comma, got a new line. That's not line 30, that's 33. Oh, base type for enumeration must be an integer. That's no problem. U16, we can just make it a U16 and then cast it. Maybe that's possible. In literals, no highlight. This is a status U16, and then we cast this to the, so the code is equal to status code. Does that work? And then code.first IDX, code.second IDX. That builds. Isn't that cool? I mean, this could also just be a struct, if we are honest. No, it cannot be a struct because, oh no, this also doesn't work. Yeah, no. Shit, okay, that doesn't work because 100, that won't do the job. So let's say maybe we can do compile times functions, split code. we get the status code U16, and it returns a U16, but a little bit different. So let's say this is the first, is status code over 100, and the second IDX is equal to status code minus 100. Then we say, okay, so this is the result. I don't know if that works at compile time, but it may work. A status code is equal to status code first IDX, second IDX, probably cast this to a U8. This is basically bit manipulation built into the compiler. And result is equal to U16 status code. Okay. Only allowed to contain field equal value. Okay, first IDX is equal to this, second IDX is equal to this. Result. So return. And can we do this here? So split status code and then 100. Enumeration value must be a constant. That's unfortunate. Compile time functions. Odin. Is that a thing? Compile time run. That's unfortunate. Compile time. Constant declarations at compile time. Can we do this? Like test split status code 10. It's not a compile time known constant. That's unfortunate. Load hash. Global or static variable with row data attribute will live in the read-only data block of the program. That's probably something we want. In most cases, using constant is a bad idea. Oh, okay. Thread local. I believe this is not possible. A when statement. Constant declarations, yeah. Shit, okay. So we'd have to do something like this is a U8 4 shifted over by 8, or together with a 0. No, this is not a 4, this is a 1. Does that work? Okay, 1 shifted over by 8. Okay, so that doesn't work. Well, that's a little unfortunate, actually. Oh, can't you construct a status code in here? Maybe like this. Status code. First IDX, 1. Second IDX, 0. Nope. Or maybe like this. New code. I mean, at this point, we're just this is just madness. So then here, continue code. Enumeration value must be a constant. Well, it is theoretically. What do you think about working in sprints? Scrum in a corporate environment. Oh, okay. So I actually only worked once. Yeah. Once in a team that really that was really passionate about labeling itself as an agile team that does Scrum. Like most of the times it's just the people are just trying to say, okay, this is just for this is just surface level. Like people are saying, okay, we do Scrum, we're very agile, we're this modern team that moves so fast. This is just like the manager surface level stuff that many teams do, just to be cool and modern, although the idea is not that modern. I believe Scrum is most of the times this, that people just do it to get the certificate and put it on their label. I don't think that any team should do any process, or every team should do any process. Every team should reflect on its process and see what works for them. And if you have someone in your way that says, okay, no, this is not according to the Scrum guidelines. Maybe this would fit better to us, but it's not the Scrum guidelines. Anybody saying that is a moron, I believe. So you have to, at least this is my take from my very limited experience, but staying to a process just because someone else says so, or just because the guideline says so, you're a Scrum Master, because it's right apparently, I don't think that's a good idea. And if people go out to you, like, or put this into the job posting, I don't know. I don't know, man. We're every team has to find their process, I guess, because every team is different. Yeah, that's probably my take, which is, I wouldn't say Scrum is necessarily bad or completely or good. If it fits you, that's all right. But if it doesn't and you stick to it anyways, you probably should make some adjustments to the process. Okay, nevertheless, I try to convince the compiler that this should work, but somehow the Odin compiler doesn't like it. I wonder if you can do it, if you can massage the compiler to like this. But I don't think so. So we just do it like this. So this is 1 shifted over by 8. This is 1 shifted over by 8, or together with 1. Again, in C we could just do it pound define. Code, status code, A, B, and then do A shifted over by 8 or together with B. But here, that's unfortunately not possible. This would be a 2 shifted over by 8. This is a 2 shifted over by 8 or together with a 1. This is with a 2, right? What was that? 0, 1. I have a problem. I work in 2-week sprints in a corporate environment, specifically in a bank, and sprints are being used as a tool to measure my performance every cycle. Sometimes I feel exhausted after the sprint and need a break, but there's always another sprint starting immediately. Managers really dislike it. Yeah, this is a manager problem. And managers really dislike it when I move tasks from one sprint to the next. In Scrum, there's this idea of sprint commitment, the expectation that everything planned will be delivered, which puts additional pressure on me. On top of that, I'm questioned daily about my progress. After 2 years of this, I'm feeling burned out. I'm starting to think that programming might not be for me, not because of the coding itself, but because this way of working just doesn't suit me. Yeah, I think a lot of people feel like this, and it's not just with Scrum, but with Scrum it becomes more apparent because you're constantly being measured. That is, if you deliver once very heavily and put all in, the next time you're expected to do it again, and that's just not a sustainable process. I mean, Scrum, the initial idea of Agile is to have continuous, or the initial idea was for programmers, right? To have a process where you continuously deliver incremental changes to the product and give it out to the customers to get feedback. But it became this monster for that is misused by managers to get some certificate that says, okay, you're Scrum certified or whatever. So on the one side, it's just selling certificates, but on the other side, this measuring thing. But that's not just a problem with Scrum, I guess. People are constantly trying to measure your output, and it's obviously not constant. And if your managers have no idea what it looks like for you, and you're feeling burned out, I don't know if this is the right position for you. But this in theory, this should have nothing to do with programming. But I think a lot of people feel like you. And if you don't have someone that stands up for you and says, okay, we cannot deliver this continuously, or yeah, if there's no buffer between manager, so that's completely unreasonable, like, right? So it's completely unreasonable to assume that, even to assume that things, so one, even to assume that things are moving always the same pace and that you always perform the same, but also that the planning and the estimation of the effort is right. That's also something. Yeah, I don't know. So if I see, I mean, banks are probably the least agile environment. So the process is about continuous delivery, but they made it so that they can measure. That's not the idea of Scrum, I guess, or agile. Yeah, I'm sorry to hear that. That's obviously a very bad place to be in. And I cannot tell you what to do, right? If you really enjoy programming, maybe look for a different position, because probably many positions are like this. Probably, yeah, but not every position, right? And it's hard. It's hard. There's no one answer. And probably I'm not even the best person to speak about this problem. Okay, this builds. I have no idea what I'm doing, so where is it? Response dots. What were? But I'm noticing that this is becoming a more widespread issue. There are more and more articles and voices speaking up about it. I used to think it didn't apply to me, but now I've experienced it firsthand. Yes. Yeah. If you're interested, I recently saw this video by Dr. K. What was it? Dr. K software developers. So no, that wasn't it. Maybe there's something in there as well, but there was some video. Wait, let me just search it. Where they addressed a similar thing, like Dr. K. Yeah, it is why software devs keep burning out. Can post the link. Maybe you saw it. You saw it already. I think it's a good video because it addresses exactly the points you were talking about. I mean, not specifically with Scrum, because I don't necessarily think that it has to do something with Scrum, but rather misconceptions in management. But you're not alone. And I think that's good to know. Okay, so HTTP status code. So this is a bad request, right? No, it's a not found. Invalid type U16 for implicit selector expression not found. What? No, let's make this a, where's U16 here? HTTP status code. So maybe this is something that the Odin compiler should support, that you can just put a bit field in here as a backing type. That would be nice. To use 16 a procedure argument. Okay, so in literals, look up status code. This is now a HTTP status code. Okay, so this builds. So if we now, where was it? It's handle request. Not found. Else, if we found it, now if not, okay, so this is okay. And here we set it to not found. Content length, we don't have any content length. Yeah, let's see what happens. So build it. Let's curl v localhost 8080 index.html. Empty reply, no, index 2 is out of range. What? Oh, I see. So this should be 0, right? Yeah, we can go into, this should be 0 in HTTP literals. Look up status code. And do -1 and -1. No, not -1. Are you kidding me? Index 255 is out of range. Are you kidding me? So, okay. Is 2 shifted over by 8? Let's see. So let's break at handle requests. That is which line? Handle request 201 http.odin 201 run. What's the password? Thank you, Apple. And curl print asset not found is false. Okay, that is that. And now we should go into write response. So look up status code, print the status code. It's 0. That should not be 0. Did we forget to save? Handle request. Should be OK, and OK is 2 shifted over by 8. 2 shifted over by 8. Well, let's rerun this. Print response dot status code. What is it? Connection dot response. Connection dot response. It's okay. And what is the value of that? Let's cast this to U16. $512, which is correct. Write the response. Step print connection dot response dot status code. It's okay. That's right. So print the status code. Probably it wasn't okay, so it is correct. And now print the code. Why is the first index 0? So for some reason I misunderstood this bit field type. I thought this is 3 bits. Huh. Bitfield is not equivalent to bit set, as it has different semantics and use cases. Bitfields are accessed by using a dot. A bitfield is different from a struct, blah blah blah. Must be an integer or fixed length array of integers. This is useful if there needs to be or access patterns. Yeah. If all of the bitfields are bitfield 1, Owns bitfields have a well-defined layout. I don't know if bitfields is even what we're looking for. Or is it bit set? I thought it was bitfield. What is a bit set again? Okay, bit set. How you set something in the bit set. There was something in KQ. So flags was a bit set of this enum. No. This is, I think bitfield is what we're looking for. So print status code as a U16. It's 512. Print it as bits. So this is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Oh, it's the other way around, right? It is the other way around. So this is the how do we call it? This is the code offset, code type. So in literals, so this is the code type, and this is the offset. And the code type has to be offsetted by 1, right? Let's build it. Oh, code has no offset. Code type, let's call it offset and type. Type offset. Okay, so we got a response. If we do something else that's not in here, we get a not found. No chunk, no close, no size. Assume close to signal end. So why is this in here? Okay. So the response body should be nil. Yeah, it should be nil, but it isn't. It isn't nil. We probably forgot to reset it. In connection reset. So connection. It is response.body is equal to nil. Did we forget something else? Probably not. I don't know. So if we do an index.html and now this, yeah, works. But obviously we forgot to insert some connection close thing. So maybe content length literal, connection close literal. Maybe do this. Connection close, connection literal, and close literal. Transmute Q8 close literal, and in literals we say the close literal is equal to close and connection literal is equal to connection. Let's see. Connection close, but still, I don't know. Maybe we should just close the connection then. So we should probably consider reporting back that we should close the connection. Okay. So I guess that's it for today. I don't have any more time left, unfortunately. Yeah, thank you for joining in. Thank you for the follow. And see you next time. Tomorrow, to be precise. Have a nice weekend. Bye.